I want to help them the way I was helped, and it's so simple. These suicides and killers need to stop.
Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the We're Not Stumped podcast. I'm your host, Mike Bolland, and today I welcome William Person. William Person is a former Team USA bobsled athlete who faced the devastating effects of CTE. Now, this is confusion, vertigo, and depression, and this was so severe he nearly gave up. Then one treatment changed everything: hyperbaric oxygen therapy. Now William is on a mission to warn athletes about brain trauma and to build a CTE recovery center for athletes and veterans in need. His story is one of survival, hope, and persistence. So let's get into it. First of all, William, thank you so much for being a guest on the We're Not Stumped podcast.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
We always start the podcast with a segment I call In Your Own Words. So I'd love the audience to learn more about you.
Okay. Yeah, sure. What would you like to know?
Well, I know you were on the bobsled team. I want to know, childhood. How did you get involved in that? I mean, other things like being in movies, which I just recently found out about.
Yeah. I'm one of those people, man. I always tell people, stay on your path. We never know what that looks like. Like, for me, I wanted to run track. And so when you leave high school, the only way you keep running track, you have to go to college. I didn't want to go to college. So I went to college because I wanted to run track, keep running. And I stayed on my path. My path took me to college. After that, we talked about the movies. It got me into some movies. I wound up doing modeling. My goodness, man. I opened treatment facilities for kids in Utah at one point. And really everything came from me running really fast and running down this track or running in a circle. My main event was long jumping. So I was running and jumping in a pile of sand. That's what I tell people. That was my journey in life. And I just stayed on that path. And every path seems to have these trees have these little branches off of it, and you do that, but you're still on the same path. It just looks a little bit different sometimes. And it brought me here. And sometimes I wonder, like, how did I get here? Like, of all places, like there's two parts of that. Like, one part of me tells me, like, when I was a kid, I couldn't have planned out my life any more exciting than what it's been. But at the same time, that excitement, man, almost took me out. And
wow.
Yeah. I don't mean to get dark on you that quick, but it's just, it went from 0 to 100 back to -50. Like, it's like that. So.
And how did you get involved with bobsledding? Because you were on the national team.
Yeah. Well, I got tricked, man. That's the truth, man. I'm going to tell you the truth. Oh, the ironic part is when I was training at ASU, the Canadian team back in the day saw me out there running, and they tried to recruit me, right? And that mean I would have to get rid of my U.S. citizenship. And first of all, I thought the sport looked stupid, so I didn't want to do it anyway back then. I was like, no, I'm not doing that. And so fast forward, I'm training in Salt Lake City at the time. We're actually training at BYU in Provo. And I'm the fastest American in the state. And so they needed athletes to come out for 2002 Winter Olympics. And my movie career was about done. I didn't want to do any more movie stuff. I had my track career was about to end. And I was like, well, let me go try something different. Maybe I'll pick up a sponsor because NBC was covering this tryout live. And so I said, maybe I'll pick up a sponsor for my last year of track. It's pretty far-fetched, but, who knows? So I went out there and I tried out for this thing. And I watched the first 30 people go through the tryout. Could have been 40, I don't know. And what they do, they bring out this treadmill and they put it on the highest elevation. They had some bobsled bars attached to it. So I got to hold these bars. And when you get ready, they just punch 10 miles an hour inside the computer. And the quicker and more power that you apply to the treadmill, the faster you get to that 10 miles an hour. And then they time that. So I watched the other people do it. And when it was my turn, I just did what came natural to me, just running. And when I finished, this guy, his eyes, the bobsled driver, his eyes were like this big, like baseballs. I used to say golf balls, but his eyes were huge. And so I know I did really good or really bad. I didn't know which one. But he put his arm around me and he said the magic words. If I offer you $50,000 for the next 3 months, would you race on my team? And at that time, I owned my own youth treatment facility, inpatient for kids. So I'm a business guy. So I'm thinking, you know, if it's a fair price, yeah, if not, we can renegotiate later. Back in my mind, I'm thinking 50 grand for 3 months. Sheesh, sign me up. And so that was a Wednesday. NBC's covering that tryout. Like I said, the hot cameras are on me. I'm assuming everything he said is 100% real. So I go to the track on that Sunday. I pushed the sled for the first time. And come to find out, this guy, his sled was inadequate. We weren't going to win anything. Like, no matter how fast I pushed that sled, the girls were beating us to the bottom of that mountain.
Wow.
Yeah, his sled, you know, NASCAR built our sleds back then. So they were shaped like NASCAR, you know. This guy's sled had like, it was this one old car, I think it was called a Pacer or something, 19 AMC. It had a bubble on it. It was not aerodynamic. I don't know why they made that sled. Who made that? I don't know. But yeah, we weren't going to win anything. And this guy, he didn't have the money. He didn't have any sponsors, and he didn't really have a chance in winning. And by the time I figured that out, I was with a new team the next week. So the first week I'm in the sport, I'm racing in the America's Cup. I won the medal. NBC TV show ran that story. I've never seen it before, but it's a show called Go for the Gold. And life just got fun. It was refreshing. It was different. And I just rolled with it. And I got a chance. I never made the national team or Olympic team or world championship team for track and field. So I said I can at least get that monkey off of my back. And so that's kind of what I did. And so I wound up spending 9 years with those guys.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's kind of gotten you to where you're at now, because obviously there must have been some injuries, or you can explain it better than I. But when I think of football and CTE, it's kind of the jarring motion of your head as much as anything else. Is that true?
I think it's part of the truth.
Okay.
So back in the day, we used to take VIP people down the track for, we call it forerunning, which means they get in the sled, they'll go down before a big race, before they just really testing the timing eyes, but they get to get that fun ride in. And so one time we took fighter pilots down, and, they pull extreme G-forces. They pull the only G-forces equivalent to bobsled, but times 2 or 3. Like, we're supposed to pull 5. I think they were pulling between 12 and 15 and 20. I've heard different numbers.
Wow.
And so we take these guys down the track, right? And we get to the end. I took 6 rides that day. They took 1, and they were shook up. And I'm thinking, how could this? They took 1 ride. Like, these are the best pilots in the world. Like, our military, like, how could they be rattled like this? It sat on the back of my mind for many years. And the truth is, an article came out called Sledhead. And inside that article, it mentions that there were spikes on our track of 84.5 Gs.
Wow.
So when you have the space shuttle that does 3 Gs, fighter pilots do 15, we're pulling 84.5. Which, because for me, there was people who never crashed a bobsled who have the same symptoms as me. And I just like, that doesn't make sense. How could that be? It has to be those G-forces. And the other thing, there's an article that just came out in December of 2024. It was about the fighter pilots. They have the exact same symptoms as the bobsledders now. And I said, I know what it is. I know. I know what this is now. Like, I can put my finger on it. Before we knew it was CTE, but we didn't know exactly how everybody got it. There's different ways of getting it. But I think the bobsled track is the perfect storm to destroy the brain. It's the only sport you can have 1 season and have CTE.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you did 9 seasons.
I did 9. And I did worse than that. Let me break it down for you.
Yeah.
I took between 1 to 6 rides a day. Usually it'd be 2, but I could do 6. One time we did 7. I do remember that. And I did that for between 3 to 5 days a week, 4 or 5 months of the year for 9 years. So what I know now is every time you go down that track, we get sub-concussions, little micro concussions. Those are the really dangerous ones because you don't get the symptoms right away. Like, when I crash and I'm dizzy and I can't go again, look, I know to go sit down. But when you have the micro concussions, you're getting the same symptoms, but they don't outwardly show, but you're just doing the same damage. And you don't know to go sit down. You're like, oh, I feel good. Let's go again. you know? And so there was days I did that 6 times. And I remember one time we were in Audenburg, Germany, and it was a big World Cup race. We had just, I think I finished silver, won the silver medal in the national championship. So I'm excited. We get there, my driver crashed me. We go back to the top, crashed me again. I crashed twice in an hour. There was no
Wow.
one there to say, don't go again. And they tried to force me to go again. I was like, guys, I really can't. Like I said, we brought an alternate for a reason. Like we need to use that on. Yeah, no, they're qualified. You should go, you shouldn't go, and the sport is just the way it's designed. If you get a micro concussion and you're going again, guess what? More damage. So every time you go down that track, you're just playing with fire. That's what it really is.
Wow, what a story! And I think you've did it so many times. I want to remind the viewers or the listeners who I'm talking to. I'm talking with William Person, and really the easiest way to get a hold of you, because you're on social media, you got a lot of things going on. But I found
Yeah,
it, at One Man with a Chamber, and if you
yeah,
Google that, you'll find. And I just want to, in case people don't, I'll link to all your stuff. But in case people are just listening and they want to learn more, that's how you do it. When did you
yeah.
first find out that? What were some of your first symptoms that made you think, "Gosh, maybe something's wrong"?
Oh man, I'm embarrassed about my symptoms, man, because like I'm just gonna give them to you. I just throw them out there. It make me look like a real butthead, because like one time, all right, I'll give you the first one. Sometimes I would wake up in the middle of the night and I would just panic because I don't know where I'm at. So I'll jump up, hit the light switch, and I look at the pictures on the wall. It let me know where I'm at. You can tell, like, Europe got weird pictures, like certain, they got those pictures like in the old Three Stooges movies, wherever you look, the pictures, the eyes keep following you.
Yeah.
So you got those around, or I know I'm back in at the Olympic Training Center, or I'm at a hotel in America. Like I can turn the light on, I'll figure it out. And so I rationalized it. I was like, you know what, guys, I got such a great life. Every 7 days I'm in a new country. That's why I don't know where I'm at. And I rationalized it. And then one of the other things that popped up is I was visiting some friends in Salt Lake. We hadn't seen each other in a while, so we met out at a little pub. And my buddy was like, "Hey man, look at your ex-girlfriend right there." I was like, I looked at her. Like, no, she's beautiful. I don't know her. I would love to know her, but I don't know her. Then she ran over and she jumped in my arms and I caught her. And I was like, oh, I guess I do know her.
Wow.
And this is what makes me look like a butthead. I was like, in the back of my mind, I was like, oh, the ladies love me. I'm an athlete. The ladies love me. That's what most athletes think. Like, but the truth was, I was rationalizing, but I wasn't recognizing familiar people. So, and I sometimes still struggle with that. Like, I finally admitted it to my friends and family about 3 years ago because I wasn't sure. I was like, okay, this is how crazy it is. How do what will make me think I have a problem with not recognizing them? If I don't recognize them, I probably don't know them. So it's kind of like this catch-20 thing. How could you know that you don't recognize a familiar face if you don't recognize a familiar face? Like, it's that whole thing. It's like, and so it's really hard to explain our symptoms to people. Like, let me give you another example. I've told so many people, like, my memory is just getting to me. Like, I don't know what this is. Like, I go in the room, I can't find my stuff, my keys. I don't know what I'm going to the room for. And most people say the same thing. Oh, I do that too. And I'm thinking like, no, this is not the same thing. And no matter what symptoms you give them, they try to make you feel better by minimizing your symptoms. Like, no, I'm just telling you, this is what I'm dealing with. Like, but most people, they just, they don't, either they don't understand it or they don't want to understand it or they don't want to upset you. I don't really quite know which one it really is, but a lot of the symptoms they look like other things. And it's so easy for them just to get just swept under the carpet. Yeah.
What was the point though where you got to, hey, I need to try to find a solution to this?
Um, I had been looking for a solution for a long time, but I was looking for the wrong solution. Um, I had these moments where I still have these random days I was cloudy, like I was confused. I can get lost really easy. Um, I forget what day it is. I never know what month it is. I'm stuck. I was stuck in a loop. It was either January or August for some reason. And I just, I had no idea what it was. I just thought it was diabetes. And so I was seeing a doctors for many years. Like, I'm waiting on, give me my insulin this year so I can move on with my life. And they kept telling me, you don't have diabetes. And I'm just thinking, like, something's wrong with this test. Like, there's no way. I know what low blood sugar looks like. I know diabetics. I have to have this. I can't get out of bed. And so what I did is I just tucked in. So every night before I went to bed, I put one of three things on my nightstand that I've never drank before, which is coffee, Coca-Cola, or my nightstand. And when I wake up in the morning, like I've set some alarms and I'll grab that caffeine and I'll drink it. If I didn't do that, I won't get out of bed till 3 o'clock. And yeah, so that's kind of the thing. So when I wake up, I had to figure out, I already kind of figured out that I don't know what day it really is. So I had a little daily plan. I open it up, look at it. Okay. Then I got to figure out what month we in. And so that was a daily thing for me. Like every single day, the same thing. And then what I did is my symptoms were getting so bad. I had these 8-foot scrolls on all my walls. They were 8 feet long. You could roll them up, and 2 feet tall. And I'm writing notes. I got notes all over my house, man. I look like the dude from Beautiful Mind when he was writing all them. That's what it really looked like in my place. But I was really just figuring this thing out. And now put something in place so that don't happen again. Like, I miss work. Okay, put it on the board this time. You're not going to miss it. You miss a doctor's appointment. Okay, you're not going to miss another doctor's appointment. Put it on that board. So I had a routine. I started setting a routine up for myself. And that kind of helped preserve me and save me. And it kept me from sinking all the way. But the real kicker came in. I had a teammate, Pablo. Man, and I'd be honest, I just connected these dots about 2 weeks ago. And this happened, my situation with him happened before COVID. He would call me. He wanted to be a writer. And at that time, I was writing some shows. I had a few shows floating around Hollywood. And so people would call me and I'll give them advice. But he would call me with these crazy concepts. And back then, I thought it was creative writing. I was like, wow, that's so bizarre, but that could be awesome. And then one time he called me, the very last time he called me, he was speaking gibberish. Like, and I was like, what? And he kept doing that. And I was like, I couldn't understand him. So he got so frustrated. He hung up the phone. And because I did own treatment facilities before and I worked in them, I used to run one of the biggest units in the country for one of the biggest companies in the country. And I knew mental health. That was my thing. And so I said, every day I told myself, get him some help, get him some help, get him some help. And I didn't do anything. And then I got the call. I don't know if somebody called me. Well, I know my phone started ringing, but I saw it on the news too. He had went to his family's factory and he hung himself.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I felt responsible because I knew I should have helped that guy and I didn't do anything. And then it put a whole lot more pressure on me. And until like when they did his autopsy, we found out he was in stage 4. So there was nothing I could do that was going to help him, number one. Number two, when I called myself helping him, man, I was struggling. I didn't even know how bad. Like I had already taken the mattress out of my bedroom, and I took it off the box spring and I threw it in the living room floor. And there was days I was just crawling around. I'd crawl to the kitchen and crawl to the bathroom. If I can't get to that bathroom, guess what? I got a jar next to the bed with a lid on it so I can, And that's, man, and I lived there for I don't know how long. Like, I can't tell you how long I laid on that floor. I really wish I knew from my own records, but I have no idea. And that's what was, yeah. And at that point, this thing had a name. Now we know. And I started making phone calls and found out it was all my teammates. It was more suicides than I knew about. And I was like, whoa, what? And but the crazy part, there was more people telling me they tried to commit suicide, And I was thinking like, in the back of my head, like every day, like, and I didn't tell anybody this, like, I was really ashamed of it. Like I wanted to die so bad. Like I was praying for death. And yeah, like, it was so bad at one point, I was just bargaining with God, like, maybe I can just kind of get some pancreatic cancer because I heard that's quick and fast and it's over. Like, And for me, like I had taken suicide off the table because, I'm a counselor and I didn't want to hurt I saw what it does to the families and I didn't want to leave that trauma behind. So I couldn't do that. But if God come and get me, then that's a whole other thing. But now that I'm thinking about it, who the hell prays for cancer for themselves? That's just,
Yeah.
there's so many cancer survivors out there right now who are people struggling with that stuff. And here I am, hoping I can get that so I can get out of here. Like, yeah, it's pretty dark story, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's because of what you were going through, but how did you do the research or how did you stumble upon, and maybe the wrong term, the hyperbaric oxygen therapy?
Man, by a total accident. I was doing research when I could. Like I got to the point where I couldn't write anymore. I couldn't read. I couldn't do simple math in my head. And whenever I got a clear moment, I was on the internet trying to at least address the symptoms. Doctors they give up on you right away. Matter of fact, every neurologist that my primary sent me to, when they called to make the appointment, they all told me the same thing. Don't come here. We can't help you. Find a specialist. Well, according to my doctor, you're the specialist. No. So even as of now, I'm not even being treated by a neurologist because they're afraid of what my diagnosis is.
Wow.
And that's why my clinic that I'm trying to open is so important. Because if I'm not getting the help, and I have insurance, like nobody's getting the help. That's why you keep seeing. Matter of fact, did you see the thing with a young man? He went to the NFL office about a month ago, and he tried to shoot the NFL office up.
Yes.
The article came out today. He left a note saying he had CTE, right?
Mm-hmm.
The medical examiner put out the news today. He does have it. He did have it. Yeah.
I did not see the news today, but yes.
Yeah, it just came out. My publisher just sent it to me about 30 minutes ago.
Wow.
But so that guy was right. Like that guy knew. And when you over there and you start reading up on the symptoms, you can compare the two. You know what this is. Yeah. And when you get there, it's no hope for you, man. Like they really wash their hands of you.
Yeah, and that's absolutely a shame. And not only the NFL, but certainly with the governing body for the bobsled team also, right?
Oh, absolutely. See, at least the NFL has put things in place. They're trying to make some changes. They might have had to get in trouble and get caught, and they tried to hide all the stuff, but eventually they did. Bobsled team, no, one of my only demands, like that was non-negotiable during we had I don't know if we mentioned I filed a class action so everybody can get medical stuff. The only thing that I requested that I won't negotiate on is they have to warn the new generation before they start the sport. And so they're fighting me on it. They're going back and forth with, okay, now we put the word concussion in the waiver. Is that okay? Like, no, I knew I had a concussion, but I didn't know in 7 years I was going to not recognize my loved ones, that I was going to get lost in my own neighborhood, that I was going to be cloudy, that I can't count spare change. I can't read. Like, no, like that word concussion is so generic. Just like saying, I have somebody, they want to get some shoes. Well, let's go get some new shoes. But you didn't tell them I'm going to take you to the grocery store to buy them. We're going to get them off the rack right next to the meat section. They're going to cost $2. No, that's not what I want. It's not what I need. So yeah, that's the biggest thing. I want to make sure we got to warn that new generation. Like,
yeah,
nobody should have to go through this. It's not good.
And I want to remind everyone again, in case you're just listening, I'm speaking with William Person, and he can be found at One Man with a Chamber. Yeah. And you do that search, you're going to find out all the different types of information. He's got so much going on right now. How about this, though? When you talk about the oxygen therapy, what does that do for you? Or what does that do for a person, I guess is a better way to say it.
From what I understand, how it was explained to me, when you go in that chamber, it makes your blood believe it's like, makes your body believe it's like, think about 9 feet underwater. So your blood is more like a gas. So if it's a gas, it can get through all the blockages and get to all the places that it needs to go. And so that's really what it does. It oxygenates all your cells. Like say, if you have cancer can't live in an oxygenated environment that it doesn't like it. So a lot of doctors now, they'll send you into hyperbarics. The new age doctors do. Old school doctors, probably not so much.
Yeah.
They'll send you in there before you start treatment. They'll have you in there during treatment. And they'll have you do some more oxygen therapy after treatment. It just helps the body heal.
Got it. And saw a video that you posted to your Facebook page where you said you went about, 3 weeks without doing it, and you could tell the differences between while you were doing it religiously and then taking the 3 weeks off. What is that like?
Yeah. Oh, it's a nightmare. Like well, I won't say most people. A lot of people that I ran into who have been doing this, like Joe Namath, he's the one who got me started. Um, those people get permanent relief, right? So they don't need it anymore. Me, if I go between 3 to 5 weeks without it, I'll go backwards. I'll start getting cloudy again. Like I struggle with talking. Like sometimes I'll make videos when I'm like that so people can see what it is. Like I can literally see the words. It's almost like there's a screen in my head and I can see the words up there, but I can't say them. I can't pronounce them. Yeah, and then that's what happens to me. Like I'll go backwards. But normally, the biggest thing is I don't panic though. Like I know exactly what to do. Okay, get back to that chamber and get back in there quick. And that's really the difference.
And that's something you're trying to get a solution for many other people. You want to talk about that and what you're trying to do to help others?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, my goal is just this. Like in America, it's sad. Like we can't go to the movies without getting shot. We can't go to church without getting shot. We can't, all this gun violence and stuff. Yeah. If you look at most of the people who are in prisons, the statistics say 60% had untreated head injuries. That's what the stats tell us. And it lines up perfectly with what these athletes are going through. For example, I believe CTE really is it's just really untreated concussions. If you don't treat that injury, eventually it's going to fester and get worse and worse and worse. So if 90% of the athletes who were tested from coming out of the NFL have it, it's got to be just from the constant, And so my thing is we have to do better with treating that stuff. Like you can't wait until the symptoms show up. It's too late. Well, I don't know if it's too late, but it makes it harder to rebound.
Yeah.
And so it's the only injury you can ever have in sports where they don't give you a treatment plan and okay, we got to do this for 6 weeks and this for. No, it's like one time I had my first crash. It was Switzerland, right? My brakeman was knocked unconscious. I had vertigo, and I have the video. I can send you the video link. It's crazy. And matter of fact, it's on my YouTube channel. And he was knocked out unconscious. So they told us to go back to the hotel and to watch each other and don't go to sleep. So my question is is the guy who was knocked unconscious supposed to watch the guy with vertigo? Or is the guy with vertigo who can't sit up in the bed without the room spinning supposed to be watching this guy to keep him awake? And so that's kind of what they did to us for, my whole career. And so it took me 20 years to find relief. But I think we catch these other people sooner. It's like they say I use the lowest pressure chamber that there is, a 1.3. They said if I use a higher pressure chamber, which I did one this last week, and I do feel a little bit of a difference. They said I probably won't go back anymore. So I'm going to try that. But my gut kind of tells me I had 20 years of hundreds of bobsled rides, and this is probably the best I'm probably going to be. Because I'm over 530 hours inside of a chamber in. I didn't start just doing it last week,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to hear that you're at least doing better to a place where you're helping others, and you're looking to actually create a facility in St. Louis, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to use St. Louis only really just because of the financial dynamics of that place. You can get the real estate a lot cheaper. Matter of fact, my dad, he just retired. He had a roofing company. He's got this huge building he's about to sell. It's got 3 addresses on it. So, yeah, I got to go in there and clean it up and, make it, more like, clinical. But, yeah, I can get that from him for peanuts. He'll let me have it for cheap. And I need to raise the money for the build out and get the equipment. I'm hoping to get some partnerships with some of these chamber companies, and they'll hopefully donate. Because what my goal is I want to treat the athletes. And I ran into another population that really needs this help, which is the veterans.
Yes.
So
yes.
It's the same treatment. It's the same issue. They get it from being around the compression blast,
yep.
Being around the tanks when they're, shooting those bombs off. And so I can't leave those guys out. I see them all the time laying on the streets. No. I'll guarantee you they are where I was at. I just had enough resources around me to keep me from sinking. But once them resources dry up, man, that's when you, like, what do you do?
Yeah.
That's when you wind up on the streets. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree about that population. As a matter of fact, they also lose limbs, and that's why there's a great tie-in between the podcast you're on right now and the population
Yeah.
that you want to help. So I really appreciate you being on. I want to remind everyone again, William Person, he's
Yeah.
doing a lot of great things, and just look up his name and you'll be able to find. What's your YouTube channel? I don't think I have that in front of me.
It should be the same thing, one man with a chamber.
One Man with a Chamber. Just
Yeah,
look
I
it
just
all
have to
up.
redo everything. Like I redid all of my social media just for this, just to kind of ramp it back up and just only focus on this. I wanted to get all the distractions off of my page
Yeah.
and really, because like we I had court about a month and a half ago, and I made a video right before the day before court. Oh, it was the day the guy did the shooting in New York. And one thing I put in that video, and it's kind of disturbing, but I said, guys, we hear about the football players and the other athletes, they're either harming themselves or harming their loved ones. Like, we seeing this over and over and over. I said, it's awful. They need help, hands down. I said, but there's another population that I'm really afraid of. I said, it's the military guys who come back, because they come back with the same symptoms, the same issues, but they went in the military. Now they're natural born killers. They're trained to kill now. And so I said, there's going to be a wave of military killings coming. And so I put that out. I released that thing on social media. The following week, a military guy, went to a bar in Montana. He shot the bar up. As far as I know, he's still hiding in the woods. I'm not sure if they found him or not.
Wow.
Then the following week, another guy, military guy, went in and shot up his commanders in the Army. So, man, this is just something we can't keep sweeping it under the rug and think it's going to go away, because our gun violence here is just getting worse, a little bit worse, a little bit worse. And I promise you, there's a correlation here. Just people aren't connecting the dots because they don't want to. But people who know what this thing is, they know what this thing is.
Well, that's why I admire you for doing what you're doing and trying to help and making an effort to make it happen. And I really admire you for that. William, thank you so much for being a guest on the We're Not Stumped
I got to say
podcast.
one thing. We have time
please.
for more?
Oh,
man,
of
I
course.
was watching one of your podcasts the other night, and I've been saving the story for 15 years, and I've never told the story.
Oh, I want to hear this.
But I got to hear it, and it's actually about more on your side. He had a track meet, right? He had a track meet, so he wanted me to help him get ready for this track meet. He was never like an elite athlete, but this guy worked hard. He had the passion. Here I am. I'm out there. I'm trying to get endorsements. Most people out there trying to get sponsors. This guy just wanted to run. He was probably going to run times that are the women Olympic team was going to beat his times. So he's not, it wasn't the fastest guy, but he tried hard. He had a good heart, man. His technique looked so good. He looked like he was going to break the world record every time. So he came down to train with me. It was just for a few days. I'm trying to get his blocks right for the start. So that was like, he competed on that weekend. I didn't hear from him. I was like, I wonder how he did. Waited a few days and I called him. And I said, how was the track meet? He said, oh, it's pretty good, man. And he said, the guy, well, I'm trying not to use his accent because this is going to give him away. But I'm going to do it anyway. He had this weird Jamaican accent, but he wasn't really from Jamaica. But he was like, yeah, mine. I was racing him, and the world record guy beat me, the world record holder. And I was like, Carl Lewis? He ain't still running this. Is it Carl Lewis in town? He's like, no. I said, Maurice Green? He's like, no. I said, Otto Bolland? He's like, no. He said, the guy with one leg. Marlon Shirley, he has one leg. He jumped out on me, man, and I couldn't catch him. And I was just like, what? Yeah, so this guy, he had a prosthetic leg. He was the fastest amputee in the country at the time for our Paralympic team and stuff. But he beat him, and he beat my friend in the race. And that story, man, I just, every time I think about it, was this one-legged guy jumping out on him, and he couldn't catch him. Like, that's like one of my favorite stories at a party that I always told. But yeah.
It's a great story. It really kind of talks about what we're both talking about. There's another side, and you got to try to keep positive, and
Yeah.
good things are going to happen. And I think good things are definitely going to happen for you.
Did you support the guy? They called him the Blade Runner. He was from South. Was it South Africa? He wanted
Oscar
to run.
Pistorius.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Yeah, I have interesting takes on whether prosthetics should be allowed in some of those competitions because, in the back here, if anybody can see, I have some of my old prosthetics. I would never think about putting it in a glove and going to a boxing ring. You know what I mean? So it's like,
man, you would win with that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So that's why I have, different opinions of a lot of people, whether prosthetics should or shouldn't be allowed. I think they've done some studies and I get all that, but just, I don't know.
Well,
I have a little different of opinion than most people that are like me.
Yeah. Well, one thing about that was I remember I was his biggest supporter. I was like, man, let that guy run, And then after the Olympics, they let him run. He went back to run in the Paralympics and he lost.
Oh, I didn't even remember that. Wow.
Yeah, it was a guy. You got to go YouTube. I'm sorry. I'm stuttering right now. I can't get it.
Okay.
Pass it up. There was a guy who came out. He had bigger legs, prosthetics. And Oscar was so mad. But first he was like, the legs doesn't make a difference. And then they don't, and then that guy came out with bigger legs and beat him. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So maybe they do make a difference, That's
I
that's
guess
kind
they
of
do make a difference. But
kind
until then, I was on his side. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that story. I really appreciate it. And again, I said it before, but I'll say it again. Good luck with everything you're trying to do because you are trying to make a difference and help people. And you know what? It should happen. So thank you so much for being a guest on the We're Not Stumped podcast.
Yeah, and I appreciate you having me. And number one thing is, guys, I want to do not-for-profit. We're doing crowdfunding because we don't want these people making life decisions about getting treatment. I want to provide this service for them for free. It's very simple. Once I have the equipment, all they got to do is come to my place, get in the chamber, and do the other things that we have for them to do, and they can go home. It's very simple stuff. Like I want to help them the way I was helped, and it's so simple. These suicides and killings need to stop.
Well, let's make it happen and go support William and everything he's doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Well, here we are at the end of another great podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I bet you're wondering, gosh, I'd like to be on that podcast. I wonder if Mike would like to have me on. Well, why don't you go to we'renotstumped.com, go to guest inquiries, and you can find out everything you need to know about being a guest on this podcast. I would love to have you on. And by the way, if you made it this far, if you went down this far to this point of the We're Not Stumped podcast, do me a favor. Like, share, and subscribe. Especially share it. Come on, you got friends. You got at least one friend. You have as many friends as I have hands, so you have one friend. Please share this podcast. Thank you.